Hi, this is Kelly Woods Vaughn of the Women's Business Networking, and this morning we are going to meet one of our candidates for Town Council, Tom Larson, and he's going to answer about 10 questions, and this is business focused for all of you that would like to take a look at these videos. They will all be online, and we're excited to have some time with Tom. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you. Again, my name is Tom Larson, and we've been here about 9 years in Colonial Beach, and excited to be running for town council and trying to help the town move forward.
Okay, based on what you know about Colonial Beach, what do you see as the top priorities for our town and why?
So there are 3 or 4 that are really important. We've got to get our infrastructure right, and that's in progress, the water treatment plant and the drains and the stormwater drainage and so forth. There's an ongoing issue and a hot public topic around sidewalks. I agree. It's been on my list since I first visited the town, 9 years ago. But I think the most important thing we need to do is get our financial house in order, get better at our budgeting process, and get on a sound financial footing so that we can do all these other things and grow the town in the way that we would like to.
Okay, understanding some of the challenges, like you just mentioned, infrastructure erosion that we have on some of our beaches, sidewalk issues, water and sewer, budgets. With your experience and knowing your background, how do you see any of these being improved, or do any of these priorities or hot buttons you think need to actually be eliminated?
Well, it is a long list. And I mentioned, previously about the sidewalks. My view on the sidewalks is it's time to get started. Our comprehensive plan said in 2021 that we should spend, an incremental amount over a 10-year period. That hasn't happened yet, so we have to get started for sure. But the thing that I bring, I think, and the thing that I want to help with on day one, literally, is the budget, right? The budget process is, I won't say broken, but it's not great, right? So if you've sat through the meetings, and I saw Kelly, you had several of them this year, when it was all said and done, I felt like the council was frustrated, the citizenry were frustrated, the staff was frustrated, and that's a process problem, right? So I'm not pointing fingers at any one individual, but we can fix the process. I've been through big budgeting processes and managed large budgets myself. I want to jump in right away as soon as, if I get elected, to start improving that process, and there's some stuff on my website about that if you'd like to learn more.
Okay, do you believe that the growth of our downtown and Main Street program is healthy and successful? Or if not, what would your solution be to maybe fix or enhance our downtown Main Street project?
So it's not black and white, healthy or not healthy to me. I feel like we are definitely moving in the right direction, right? Just as evidenced by the new businesses that have come in, most of which have been quite successful. Magnolia Hall is one. We finally have a restaurant in the old Tattletale site there at the corner of Irving and Washington, and many, many more businesses. So we're moving in the right direction for sure. There's more work to be done. We need to do some work on the sort of the beautification of downtown to encourage more businesses to come, to encourage more tourists to come, right? So I want to lean into what we've done already in that area. We're not done. So again, we're moving in the right direction. More work to be done.
And I think I can agree with you. I think there's quite a few business owners that have been a little frustrated with the beautification projects. We have kind of start-stopped, and I think that's something that we can all come together and help to really enhance our community.
Go ahead.
As we continue with the growth in our community, what do you think is more important? Building more homes to bring residents in that give us a bigger, broader tax base, or do you think we need to bring more businesses into town?
Well, I'm conscious that I'm speaking to the Women's Business Network here today, but that said, I don't think it's an either or. We need more residents in town to increase the tax base for sure, and we need more commercial property available. And there's this virtuous cycle that I envision where we get, sort of smart growth in our full-time residential population, and expanding sort of downtown and uptown set of businesses to draw more tourists in, right? So I've had the questions. I knew you were going to ask this one, but I'm not going to make a choice. I think it's both, and I think we can do both at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. So.
And I have a tendency to agree with that. I think it's as mentioned in the candidates forum the other night, I truly believe it is smart growth because I think you need both. Residents help our businesses stay busy and keep them viable, and then having businesses and options where people can shop and spend their money also brings people into town. So it is kind of it's not an either or, it truly is a multiple.
That's what we're going for here.
Yeah. So agreed. Okay, it's perceived we have parking issues. Parking for residents, businesses, and visitors is kind of at a minimum, but yet it's also kind of at a premium because you have to pay to park. Do you have a solution to meet some of these challenges with parking for residents and businesses, or do you think maybe it's really not an issue?
So there's an issue, but I'm not sure it's exactly lack of parking. I think it's lack of communication about the parking. So I think we have more parking than people that are, especially our visitors, are even aware of. There are lots that are tucked away in different places that they don't know about. The signage isn't there. We live just a few blocks from downtown and walk into downtown frequently during the busiest weekends. And there have been a few times where it looked like every parking place was taken, but not all that often, right? So I think really we need to do a better job of managing the parking and communicating the regulations and availability of parking that isn't right on Washington Avenue, so that our visitors can find a place to park and spend money at your business.
Exactly. If you could change one zoning code or ordinance, what would that be and why?
So I will confess that I don't have a sort of a deep knowledge of all the zoning codes and ordinances. I am aware, though, that there is one that sort of requires every new business to have an allocation of parking, a certain number of spaces within a certain distance of the business. I think we need some more flexibility there, particularly for businesses that are near some of these public lots that are available. So that's one I've heard of that makes sense to me that we could take a look at and look to make more flexible for new businesses.
So I will say a lot of the businesses in town do share some parking lots, and one of the reviews that the Economic Development Council did was look at that and make a suggestion, or will be suggested to Town Council and the Planning Commission, that we look at shared lots, because as you stated before, there are parking lots that are kind of tucked away, but we do need to really consider the fact that there is minimal parking in some spaces in some areas, and that we need to look at better options. It is perceived that we are not always business friendly. Processes and costs are not consistent, and support is lacking. Do you have a plan to streamline the new business process or minimize any of the costs associated with starting a new business?
So I agree with sort of the premise of the question that we need to streamline, that it needs to, that we need to be more business friendly. Do I have a plan? My plan initially is to meet with business owners like you, Kelly, and others to sort of find out what those struggles are. I don't have a deep knowledge of that. I've talked to a few that have started recently and felt like things may have improved a little bit from their perspective, but my plan will be initially to work with sit with the business owners, have conversations like these, and understand the problem more deeply. But process improvements, for budget to the regulations around adding new businesses are high on my list, right? It's not interesting politics to talk about process, but I think that's where we have a lot of opportunities in town government to improve.
So I know a little bit of your background in coming from government contracting myself. I will say that streamlining processes and making processes effective across the board a lot of times improves communication, improves the cost of fees because people understand it better,
right.
And just having it consistent across the board really makes the headaches go away.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a perception of inequity due to lack of communication, lack of sort of knowledge. So and I don't have a full perspective of which one it is, or is it a combination of both? So I'm looking to dive deep into that and help.
As you know, this year the food and lodging taxes were increased, which is not a stable, guaranteed annual amount. Increases to taxes, sewer and water and businesses are a really touchy subject, as you know. If elected, what are 3 steps you would take to put our town on a firmer financial footing? Or what are your ideas to make that happen?
So, I saw you at those town council meetings when we were talking about the taxes, and I know that you're probably not thrilled with the way that turned out, but I still see it as a major success story, right? Because the business owners came together, they came before the council listened, and those tax rates, those tax increases were reduced dramatically. Was it 4 cents to 1 cent in your case, or 4%?
Correct. It ended up being 1%.
Right, and I'm sure 0 would have been your preference. I get it.
Correct.
But 4 would have been horrible. So that's an engagement between the citizens and business owners and the town government that had an impact, and I think you should be proud of it, your efforts in that area. The rest of the question.
So what are some steps you would take to put our town on a firmer financial footing?
Right, so we've talked about that a little bit already, and it is increasing the tax base, right? So if we, broadly, that's how you do it, right? Either you charge more taxes to the people and the businesses that you have, or you get more of them, right? With the latter, right? So let's grow the size of our community carefully, thoughtfully, right? And in that, we increase the size of the tax base. We provide more residents that'll be in town year-round to support the businesses that they're here year-round. And in that way, we can have the revenue the town needs to manage itself properly without increasing taxes on residents and businesses.
Okay, we're down to the last couple of questions. How do you plan to involve residents or businesses' input into your decision-making process? I know we can attend the town council meetings, but are you looking at input before that, or you kind of just want to hear what people say before you vote? What's kind of your plan?
Right. So discussions like we're having here this morning, I think, are the best way to understand people's real concerns and have a back and forth conversation, so we can share ideas. Next week, first week of October, for context, in case you're watching this video after the fact, but next week I'm going to spend an hour and a half for Monday through Friday just sitting at Colonial Buzz and invite people to come talk, right? That's what I want to do, right? So, and I think I'm going to repeat that pattern maybe on a weekly basis and just sit down and say, come talk, let's have a conversation. By the time someone stands up at a council meeting and voices even a legitimate concern or a good idea, the vote's happening immediately. Someone's been thinking about it on the council for a week or a month. They don't have time to sort of internalize those comments that happen in the moment and then change their point of view and change their vote, and it's kind of late, right? So I think conversations ahead of the meetings help influence me, let me help sort of explain things to you and citizens. I think that's my approach.
Okay, our last question. What is the most favorite thing about Colonial Beach and why?
So I've thought about this one a lot, and what I've told people, for years and years is we came for the river, for the water, for the beauty, for the natural, the beauty of the town, but we stayed because of the people. Right? From our very first visit, we sat down at, what was it? It was, I can't remember now. We walked into a restaurant, we sat down, and a few minutes later, a group of people came in and sat down with us at a big shared kind of farm table and started just chatting with us, got to know us. Hey, here's the group you can sign up for on Facebook, and hope you come back. And it's just the people that live here are here because they want to be here and they're happy about it. And it's just the vibe of this town is what kept us here, really.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
And really appreciate your answers, and wish you the best.
Okay.